Welcome to Make Music Happen, a podcast brought to you by the Songbirds Guitar and Pop Culture Museum. I'm one of your hosts. My name is John.
And I'm your other host, Charlie.
So in this 30-minute show, we're going to be doing things like interviewing local artists, exploring local music history, and even looking at the intersection between music and things like race and gender and sexuality. But that's not today's show. Charlie, what do we have up for today?
Today we've got singer-songwriter Paul Thorn.
Hey, can you see me? I'm here.
Whose style I guess I'd describe as Americana. He's best known for songs like Snake Farm,
which we're listening to now.
Ramona, she kinda look like Tempest Storm. She can dance like a little Egypt. She works down at the Snake Farm. Snake Farm, just sound nasty. Snake Farm, pretty much it.
Pimps and Preachers,
which we're going to hear in a minute,
and Old Stray Dogs and Jesus,
which we're hearing now.
Paul plays here once or twice a year at Songbirds, so he's a good friend of the museum.
He's charming, he's principled, he's witty.
And he's a fantastic storyteller, especially in his live shows.
And we are going to jump into those stories, but first, I wanted to point out that yes, there is the Songbirds Guitar and Pop Culture Museum, but did you know that that is operated by the Songbirds Foundation?
Oh. Yep, that's right.
And we've got Reed here. He's going to let you know what we're all about so that you know what you're supporting when you go to the museum or you see a show or have a beer at the venue.
Hey folks, for those of you who don't know, the Songbirds Guitar and Pop Culture Museum is part of the Songbirds Foundation. And the Foundation is a nonprofit organization that provides thousands of free guitars, in-depth lessons, and cognitive music therapy to kids across the South. We here at Songbirds believe that music is one of the most essential parts of our society. It provides common ground, links unlike minds, and forges meaningful relationships. We are deeply proud to provide kids a hands-on music education and help jumpstart their musical journeys. Hey, but more importantly, we're happy to help kids learn how to rock.
Hey, ready? I meet a lot of real cool people everywhere I go. Some are in the ditch and others around the high road.
Charlie,
John.
Make Music Happen. So we're back. John, what do we have playing in the background?
This is Paul Thorn. He's playing Holy Hotty Toddy. This version he played for us during the Vault Sessions interview, which again you can see on YouTube. We're just dipping our toes into the Paul Thorn universe here. So, hotty toddy, Charlie, get us started here.
I don't know about you, John, but like when I go to live shows, I love it when the artist tells stories in between songs, whether it's like how they came up with that song.
Well, the song Holy Hotty Toddy came from an hour from where I live, which is Tupelo, Mississippi, is a town called Oxford. And in Oxford, when they greet people on the street, they don't say hello, they say hotty toddy, because it's an Ole Miss thing.
Or, you know, just like a funny anecdote. And Paul's really, really good at that. He's just got a great sense of humor.
Yeah, he definitely does. You can tell he's the kind of guy that really just finds joy in kind of the mundane, you know?
I'm good. I'm here at the Best Western drinking some fabulous Best Western coffee. And I went down and I had one of those things where you turn the knob and a certain amount of cereal falls into your bowl. Somebody had went before me and they turned the knob, but they didn't, but for some reason it all just piled up. And so then when I turned it again, my bowl overflowed and Fruit Loops went everywhere. Isn't that great?
It's almost like Ted Lassoian, this outlook. It's really unique and special to have, but even more so is the gift to be able to convey it to other people.
Yeah, he really is like one of the most positive people I've ever met. Like, it's just kind of like,
Remember, God on the mountain is still God in the valley.
I don't want to say happy-go-lucky, but just like, I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing. I'm happy to be here, and that's good enough for me.
Love everybody.
So I talked to Paul about growing up in Tupelo, Mississippi, the birthplace of Elvis, as you know.
I'm actually proud of that. We all are what we came from, and that's what I came from. And so I can sing a song that might sound like a country song, and then I can turn around and sing something sound like a Wilson Pickett song. I can do both because I grew up and I had tremendous mentors, musical mentors. I love the South. I'm not embarrassed by anything. The only thing I'm embarrassed by is people that don't act right.
My daddy had a Cadillac, my Uncle Joe a Ford. One was Satan's angel and one worked for the Lord. They had some hard-earned wisdom, they both became my teachers. I was a young disciple of pimps and preachers.
And when you're from the South, you got to talk about religion. Paul grew up Pentecostal.
I grew up going to church, Pentecostal type church. The belief of a Pentecostal faith is that, you get saved, Jesus comes into your heart, you get forgiven of your sins, and that gets you a ticket into heaven, and then after you get saved, you get sanctified. That's where it's supposedly removes your Adamic nature, which it didn't work with me because I kept on wanting to do bad things even after I was sanctified.
His parents took him to both black and white churches growing up, and he talked about how that eventually inspired his music once he decided to pursue it professionally.
They had two types of churches, the black churches and the white churches, and I attended both of them, and I learned how to play rockabilly gospel sort of at the white churches, and I learned about the rhythm and blues style of gospel at the black churches. And we used to have these once a month. We have something called a singing. Be on a Saturday night, and anybody that wanted to on that particular Saturday night could get up and sing a song by themselves, and they would call it a special, like so and so gonna get up and sing a special. And it was a big thrill to get up and sing, at those Saturday night singings, and all that stuff like that really was what helped me become a musician.
And you can hear it. Black gospel sound, and then also kind of this like old time Pentecostal feel in his music.
No more weeping and wailing. No more weeping and wailing. There'll be no more weeping and wailing. I'm going home to live with God, my Lord. Our soul will be done.
So Paul also talked to me about speaking in tongues. Have you ever spoken in tongues? Know anybody who has?
Yeah, I think I've definitely been around it, and I actually know the $10 word, believe it or not. Glossolalia is the religious studies word for that.
Really?
Glossolalia. You're welcome.
I dated a girl once who she claimed to have spoken in tongues. And then I actually went to a church and witnessed people speaking in tongues, and seeing that for the first time as a Jewish guy in the South freaked me out a little bit. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I can imagine it would. Yeah, no shade. I know it's a religious practice and whatnot, so it is what it is.
As a child, I spoke in tongues, but looking back, I think I don't think it was God that was making me speak in tongues. I think I was in the altar praying, and all these people who already had the Holy Ghost, they were putting their hands on me and they were praying that the Holy Ghost would come. And then all of a sudden, in the excitement of the moment, I just started blurting out phrases of someone speaking in tongues that I had just heard from people praying around me. And I'm not saying the Holy Ghost is not real. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it wasn't for me, because I know now, looking back, I was just trying to be in the club.
On the 23rd day of June, there's a big cake on a wash tub with a plastic bride and groom. All the neighbors and their relatives brought their own folding chairs. Her mama thanked the good Lord above for answering her prayers. They ain't living in sin no more.
Yeah, this really resonates for me, especially also coming up in the South, early experiences with youth groups and this kind of like rock worship service where you're definitely feeling something, but then later wondering, was that just the music? And being in the room with all these other people who are excited, something bigger? I'm not sure.
No matter what your opinion is of it, that experience is going to stick with you.
Absolutely.
And that's why I really wanted to hone in on religion in my interview with Paul. If you see him perform live, you can get a sense that, even though he doesn't practice it anymore, religion is still very much a part of him.
I don't necessarily believe everything I grew up being told. Well, for me, like the speaking in tongues, I'm not saying it's not real, but it wasn't real for me. So that's all I can say. But the whole experience of the church overall was good. It taught you about, they taught us how to love your neighbor, and they taught us how to be nice. The importance of being nice to all people, not just people who can help you in life. People that can't help you, be nice to them too. And it helped me develop social skills. Because like when you're a preacher's kid, you got it every Sunday. You got to shake everybody's hands, and for some people that's a chore. But I love meeting people. I love shaking hands, and it wound up serving me well in my secular music career, because I meet people every night, and there's not a human on this earth I can't walk up to and say hello to and not feel comfortable. I love people, and I'm comfortable. It could be a garbage collector or the president of the United States. They're all the same to me. They're just, some of them sitting in a higher place, but not really. It's all going to fade away someday.
My family reunion is going on today. My relatives have all flown in from places far away. As we sit there eating chicken, it hits me like a truck. I don't like half the folks I love.
Do you know Paul was a boxer?
I had no idea Paul was a boxer. I guess I could see it though.
Yeah, I was a boxer, and was I great? No, but I was very good. I was good enough that, I made it. I was a top 10 contender, and I got to go fight on national television.
Yeah, and apparently he was pretty good. He got to the point where he fought Roberto Duran. I don't keep up with any kinds of sports or anything, but I know that Roberto Duran's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's absolutely a boxing name. Like his name just hit me in the nose.
He's literally the one in the top 10 most feared fighters of all time.
But he lost to him.
Yeah, I won a lot of fights. I had to win just to get the opportunity. They don't just let you go in there and fight Duran. You got to whoop some folks along the way.
But so that's kind of where he decided to hang up the gloves.
I had 3 fights after I lost to Duran, and I won them all, but they were kind of against, not lesser opposition. And I just sort of realized that I wasn't going to be a world champion, and I wasn't going to make $1 million. So what was the real point in staying in it? And a lot of people say,
well, you quit, didn't you, Paul?
But that ain't what happened. I did not quit. I took it as far as I could take it. There's a difference in quitting something and taking something as far as you can take it. And I did that, and I have no shame in that. And there's no shame in losing to one of the top 10 fighters who ever lived.
Oh, 100%. What was the transition like from boxer to songwriter? Or was he just kind of playing music all along, and that's what kind of got him more serious about music? How did that happen?
Yeah, from what I gathered, he'd been playing music all along. He just got more serious about it once the boxing gig was over, and he wanted to figure out what he could do with the rest of his life.
I had to work in the factory while I was boxing because I wasn't getting rich from boxing. So while I was working at the factory, I was also writing songs. Me and this other fellow, Billy Maddox, that I wrote a bunch of songs with, who became my songwriting mentor. But anyway, we built up this large catalog of songs that somehow, through a fluke of miracles, got on the desk of Miles Copeland,
who is a executive producer and manager of the Police. He had founded a label, IRS Records. If you are familiar with that particular label, REM, the Bangles, the Cramps came out of that label, and the Go-Go's. And Miles is also the brother of Stuart Copeland, who was the drummer of the Police.
He liked my songs that I had written, and he literally flew down to Tupelo, Mississippi, and came and saw me playing in a pizza restaurant in the corner by myself with an acoustic guitar. And to make a long story short, I got a record deal, and I got a publishing deal because of my songs. And having never been to a concert in my entire life because it was against our religion, the first time I ever went to a concert in my life, I was opening for Sting in Nashville in front of like 13,000 people.
I saw a black man with a Bible and a sparkler in his hand. He was holding a tent revival and running a firewood stand. He said the end of the world is coming, so you better get on your knees. Today bottle rockets are 2 for 1, but salvation's free.
You have got to be kidding me. From a Pizza Hut to 13,000 people, I can't even imagine how nervous he must have been.
And everybody says, "Wow, weren't you nervous? Weren't you nervous?" And I don't say this in arrogance, but I wasn't, because think back, I've been playing in front of people all my life. So I was actually prepared better than the average bear would be, because I was used to going out in front of people and singing. And so all that stuff I did growing up in the Pentecostal church, it served me well.
Okay, well, see Exhibit A, I guess.
Well, yeah, growing up in the church, he's been performing in front of people his entire life. Here's the title track off of Mission Temple Fireworks Stand.
These things are made in China, so it's easy to see how a man who worships Buddha ain't got no guarantee. This is Holy Ghost, Big Bang Theory, Pentecostal, fire and brimstone, Mission Temple Fireworks Stand.
That is some Bible Belt down home camp meeting. I love it.
Preach it, John. Now I'm going to bring the mood down a little bit and talk about Never Too Late to Call, the title track off of his latest album. It's about his sister.
I have an older sister. Her name was Deborah.
Who died, and so I talked to Paul about that, and it's a really pretty song.
Get intoxicated to forget about what's wrong. If you feel like a sparrow who is fallen, you are not alone. When you're wearing concrete shoes at the bottom of a lake, and it feels like your heart can't take another break, just remember that I love you and it's never too late to call.
She passed away from cancer But she was an insomniac, and she stayed up really late at night, every night. And so when I was out on the road after shows, I knew I could call her and have a familiar voice to hear. And sometimes I would apologize and say, "Oh, I'm sorry I called so late." And then she's more than once she would say, "Hey, don't worry, I love you, and it's never too late to call."
Wearing concrete shoes at the bottom of the lake, and it feels like your heart can't take another break. Just remember that I love you, and it's never too late to call. When you can't.
She always doted after me, and we were really close, and she loved me and I loved her, and I miss her. When you got somebody in your life that you can call at any hour and they'll pick the phone up and really care about you, that's a blessing. And there's not going to be a whole lot of people in your life that's that. So when you find it, you really better try to keep it close as long as you can, because it won't be there forever. Just every moment you have with somebody like that, and any phone conversation, you thank God for it.
No, it's never too late to call. Never too late to call. No, it's never too late to call.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it makes me think about the people I've lost in my own life.
Charlie, how's about I bring the mood back up a little bit?
Yeah, John, let's do it.
Have you ever had one of those days when nothing goes right? Your wife starts bitching about whatever it was she was bitching about last night. So you escape into the bathroom just to sit there on your throne. But after you finish your business, the toilet paper's gone. Let's sing together. It's a great day for me to whoop somebody's ass. Come on. It's a bad day, so you better get off of my back. You might get cold cocked if you cross my path, 'cause it's a great day. Everybody, come on, for me to whoop somebody's ass. All right.
So earlier this year, Reed and I got to interview Paul for the Vault Session series.
You can find that by simply searching for Songbirds on YouTube.
And we asked Paul to share one of his biggest influences.
If I had to narrow it down to one, if I was forced to, and I really don't like to call a favorite because I like so many, but I have to put John Prine at the very top.
Like the top.
But I swear, man, when he walked from wherever he came from to where the stage was, it literally, it felt like, it sounds like a stretch, but it was like Jesus walking up.
Well, that's quite the compliment.
Cha.
Because when he started walking up and he's all frail and he had cancer, like whole throat been cut out and everything. But when he's just like barely walking, man, the people just went back like the water in the ocean when in the Bible, that story, they were just all in awe of him.
So that's Paul describing John Prine walking to come backstage for John, and that's where they first got close.
I opened up probably, 30 shows for John. And he went and he sat back behind the stage because he was running out of gas big time in life, And I just walked up to him and I was talking. And the first thing he said before he said anything, he said, "Hey Paul, you need anything? Can I get you anything?" He was acting like he was like serving me,
Which I think more than the music is Paul's big source of respect for John Prine.
But what a light that guy was, man. So there's so much empathy in his songs.
Which brings me to this story that I love, where Paul, after I think it was his very first concert,
one of the nights I opened for him that was the first night I ever opened for him.
Was invited by John Prine to have ice cream.
After the show, he didn't know me from Adam. but he invited me
And not just Paul, the stagehands, the roadies,
and the crew, not the fancy people, the crew that was, tearing down the stuff. He invited us all to his hotel room to eat ice cream.
and I can't think of anything that's much more wholesome than that.
So I'm sitting there eating ice cream with John Prine, just trying to act like I wasn't starstruck. And I was so excited that I got to have that experience.
Given what we just learned about Paul's respect and admiration of John.
I got on Facebook and I wrote, y'all, I can't believe it. I had ice cream with John Prine last night.
I mean, why wouldn't you, right?
And then instantly I got a call from his manager.
Busted.
Not booze, not weed, ice cream.
And he said, man, what are you doing? I said, well, nothing. I was just talking about what happened. He said he has sugar diabetes. He said his wife is gonna kill him if she finds out that he's been eating ice cream. I was like, oh God, like that. And so I got him in trouble with his wife.
And having learned that Paul opened for John so many times, I searched the internet in earnest for any kind of recording of them together, and all I could find was this DSLR recording on Haley Adams' YouTube channel.
Haley, if by some miracle you hear this, thank you very much.
And while the quality's not great, I think it's charming to hear Paul welcomed to the stage by his hero.
Please welcome back to the stage our special guest, Paul Thorn.
We'll listen to just enough to get to the chorus.
When I was a child, my family would travel to western Kentucky, where my parents were born. There's a backwards old town that's often remembered so many times that my memories are worn. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay.
Yep, there's Paul singing harmony with John Prine.
You got it. Pretty much a peak moment.
But you're too late in asking, Mr. Peabody's cold traders, how did it away?
Well, and that's enough of that.
Stone Fox Dan was a Romeo man, made a living selling marijuana. He went around turning all the good-looking women on.
That's our show for today. Thanks for sticking with us.
That's right. We'll talk to you next time. In the meantime, keep an eye on Songbirds' social media for upcoming shows. Paul Thorn actually just played. We just missed him, but he will definitely be back to play again. We'll hope to see you all there.
Well, now Bull Mountain Hawk was the cock of the walk. He said, Stone Fox Dan need a killing. When he got to drinking, he was meaner than a copperhead. He was the leader of the clan, took the law in his hand when he caught Stone Fox.
Make Music Happen is a production of the Songbirds Guitar and Pop Culture Museum. We are produced by Charlie Moss and Reed Caldwell. This episode was written by Charlie Moss and John Dooley. The edit, sound design, and master was done by John Dooley. Our logo and show art is by Mars Michael.
Knock him in the head.